who used to ask me what's wrong with me. This is for the people who support true artistry, and this is for the folks who feel it pumping through their arteries. This is for the part of me that's always felt invisible, and for everyone who ever taught me to be an individual. From the non-traditional to the ritualistic, this is for musicians, Max Miles and misfits, for haters, fighters, players and writers, poets, pimps, punks, prize fighters, gamers, rhymers, skaters and bikers, heads in the cipher, the temps and the lifers. This is for the all-nighters, 9-to-5ers, for the fact finders and the one-track minders, from the big timers to the nickel and dimers. This is for the in-crowd and the outsiders, for all the fans whose only concern is if it keeps their heads nodding when the wheels are turning, and for the fanatics who eat, live and breathe it. This is for the doubters who just won't believe it. I put it down for whoever wants to pick it up, so listen up, we're gonna spark it up quick enough to make heads start twisting and get your fists pumping like pistons till the cops got you ceasing and desisting. This is for the party people up in the place to be. This is for the kids who've been waiting so patiently. This is for my family and this is for my people. This is for all the fakes who front and fall feeble. The way I see it, there's no reason for exclusion. It's just somebody trying to feed you an illusion, trying to keep you down and compound your confusion, to keep you from noticing you're consuming their pollution. So go and get your gas mask, strap on your boots, kick out the president, bring home the troops. Let's take it back to the days of revolution, when a leader's meaning was to pave the way for resolution. This is for the bruised, the battered and the abused. This is for the shook ones rattling in their shoes. This is for the blues, jazz, soul and hard rock. This is for funk folk from hip-hop to foxtrot. One more chance to advance out of circumstance, one more dance to get you moving like worker ants. Go through the motions till you got the momentum, then make it move, but don't forget to make mention to originators, creators and innovators. This is for every underdog who ever made it major. This is for the minimum wagers in imminent danger, reliving their days in slave labor. This is just a small representation of just what's been going down in the basement, and this is just a piece of the puzzle for placement into proper perspective and daily rotation.
All right, you guys, let's go. That's what it is. You guys heard it. That is just one of many dope songs that Icarus Jones brings to you. He's been bringing it to you since 2003, so even beyond that. He's been, you know, with many different bandmates. He's performed all over many places. I'm gonna take it all the way back to like the Matinee, on the Miracle Mile. You used to have other bandmates that you had with you, and you did perform a lot when 209 Vibe existed in the area. And so I used to write for 209 Vibe, and that's kind of how I came across you the first time around. So writing for the newspaper over at UOP, I wrote for the newspaper at UOP, I wrote for the Stockton Record, their entertainment section called 209 Vibe. And so covering events is kind of how I came into, but then also knowing Icarus Jones through other people in the area, as far as like in the graffiti arts. So go back, way back. And so it's kind of cool. And I have a very interesting view here. Like, okay, so how did you end up linking up with Mike Klooster? And then...
it's been quite some time. After the second album I did, Smoke Signals to Satellites, which was all produced by a good friend of ours, D. Dallinger, who's mutual friends of both of ours. That's how I kind of started hooking up with Mike and music.
Darren used to be a roommate of mine.
Right. And he produced the whole second album. After that, Mike, we hung out, but he came to me, him and Stanley actually both came to me and wanted to put a live band together to play the music, and that's kind of where we started out, is just translating that album into tunes that live musicians could play, and he was kind of the central force of that.
Did we play a party somewhere?
Played somebody's birthday party, but that was already in the works.
Yeah,
but we had never played.
But we hadn't played, yes.
Yeah,
so
that was
kind of loose.
Kind of jam session type stuff.
Yeah. Right place, right time. We all clicked, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's up. It's kind of like easy going. Well, you're easy going pretty much, I think, with everybody.
I try to be.
And, you know, it's kind of one of those things where the energy is just very creative. It's just very creative. It's just a nice flow. Mike Klooster, I heard about you, and a lot of people know you from Smash Mouth, and so they know the song that everybody, you know, they all want an L on their forehead kind of crap. But I don't want to put no L on my forehead.
That's the best part of the song.
I know. I thought it was kind of funny. But to have you here with Icarus Jones, I think that's quite a collaboration. And so we have Brian. What instrument do you play?
I'm the bass player
Bass?
for the group, and it's
Stand-up bass.
And
Oh,
right, and so
stand-up bass is nice.
That's a unique
It is, yeah.
mix into this genre, and I really like the idea of that mixture of hip hop and fusion and jazz and,
Yeah.
and groove.
The new music.
Yeah,
Right.
and I always loved Mike's playing on piano and Stanley's playing on guitar. I think about guys out today like Robert Glasper and things that they're doing, and intricate, intelligent MCs, and that's exactly what Icarus is. And,
Yeah, definitely.
So it's been a really blessing to come play with these guys. I met Mike many moons ago at Delta College.
Awesome.
And he also years later was he recorded, mixed, and mastered another one of my band's projects.
Oh yeah.
Oh, what's the other band?
With the Snap Jackson stuff.
Oh, yes, with Snap Jackson.
And
Mhm.
Arlen.
And Arlen.
Yeah.
So,
Was that before or after he started playing the banjo? Because once he hit the banjo, he took off.
Yeah.
It was gone.
Yeah,
He's in
when he started, I'm in that
With
band,
Snap Jackson.
Snap Jackson, the Knock on Wood players. And,
Yeah, because Snap used to be with Icarus Jones, and then Nick Johnson.
Right.
So that was way back
Way
in the
back.
day. Hmm.
So I mean, it's funny. It's a small world, but you know the different collaborations happen, and it's really fun to work with these guys.
So you ended up coming along, and then did you reached out to them?
I was talking with Stanley, and I was talking with Mike, and always expressed an interest in wanting to play with an MC. I've always wanted to do that, and this is actually my first show with this project.
Very interesting.
So,
well, looking forward to it. So
very
everybody
excited.
can come check that out and see you with your first performance with that, and
It's
just
his
kind of.
birthday, too.
And it's his birthday! Woo! Happy birthday! I'm not singing happy birthday though.
Tonight. He's
And
gonna
so
sing
we will
on the bass.
definitely. Do you have a favorite kind of cake?
I played it myself.
Do you have a favorite kind of cake?
I'm a pie guy.
A pie guy.
Yeah,
What kind of pie?
Pie, any berry pie.
Berry pie, like cherry, strawberry.
Well, yeah,
So
blackberry.
bring
Black-
berry pies to the show tonight. Thanks.
Okay, well, I'll have to find one. I'll bring you a little personal pie because I'm not gonna buy a giant one. It's not enough for everybody. So and we have Mike also. So he's on the piano.
No, I'm not.
No?
Yeah, no. I'm playing hand percussion.
Oh, you're doing percussions,
I'm along
okay.
for the ride, and I'm lucky enough to bask in the glow of such wonderful people. It's pretty much what I'm doing.
He also happens to be a very talented musician, so there's that.
When he said that, I totally was like, oh, okay, yes.
I'm adding hand percussion to their grooves that they have, and,
Okay.
and it's a lot of fun to just lock in with them. It's a great drummer, wonderful rhythm section. Icarus flows like just molasses.
Yeah,
Just
no, like
super
butter.
smooth and it tastes great, you know. And Klooster is one of the funkiest guys in the world.
Yeah,
He has
man.
more- he has more
His
left
showmanship
hand than
is
almost
absolutely
all of us, you
amazing.
know?
Yeah.
Stan's such a ripper. It's just, it's really, I mean, that's what I mean. I think for me, it's like to watch all these guys and just hold something down, just stay there, just hold it down, and give everybody the room and watch it just blow up. It's beautiful.
Yeah. So
Fun,
so with bringing in the hand drums, are you going to be playing any others?
Oh no, I'm just I'm along for the ride.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's a friend of mine from Santa Cruz, and he saw that I was coming. He's like, "Hey, man, can I play?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah, bring your stuff to it." So,
Yeah.
and he adds in a nice way.
So on your way in from Nashville, you just kind of snagged him out of Santa Cruz.
yeah,
and
I
just kind
pulled
of
him up,
said, "Come
pulled
with
him up
me."
in the airplane.
Yeah.
So there was my shirt.
Ready? Here's the fish hook. Choo.
I'm actually here because I'm playing with Smash Mouth on Saturday.
Oh, so you're
when
still with
when
them.
I come into town, I'll come in early and do a show.
So you're still playing with Smash Mouth? Where are they going to be performing on Saturday?
We're actually doing like a private show in San Francisco.
Okay.
It's like a corporate thing. And then we're playing the Tulare Fair on Sunday.
And where's that out of?
That's like just out of Fresno.
Okay. So you'll be in. So today you're in Stockton. Tomorrow you're in San Francisco, and then Sunday you're in Fresno,
Yeah, and then back home.
and then back home Nashville.
Yeah.
So you guys got to catch him while he's here. If you guys don't catch him, that's your bad. That's your bad.
You're
so
the best cheerleader ever.
I really am. I've seen so much wonderful music come out of our area that has been slighted by mainstream media and has really been knocked out of the park to where people don't hear it, and that's unfortunate because some of the music that comes out of our area, the musicians that we have, the collaborations that we bring are so much more magnificent than some of the music that they have put on the air. And I think it's ridiculous that we don't have that and we are not in a place to push it. But now here we are, and we can do that with this radio station and what we have going on here, because that's going live. We get as much music and all the artists before they get signed or they their music becomes copywritten, because once it becomes copywritten, we're no longer able to play it on ours, but they can go mainstream. So we're really pushing them in that direction. And so bringing you guys in, and you guys, thank you so much for coming in. We really appreciate it because it's inspiring to so many to see that, you guys are here from Stockton. You went to Delta College. You guys, rocked the stages when they were different names, and the same Janet Lee Plaza, the same areas, and Bull and Bear, whereas now it is the Whiskey Barrel. No. Bull and Bear, where was that?
Las Palmas.
Las Palmas. Oh, that's so many things have changed, burned down now. No, I'm joking.
My wife used to have a flower shop next door.
Yeah.
Oh, where the art lab's at? Yes. When that left, I was so sad. I didn't know that was your wife's store, but I loved her arrangements that she would have in the windows. I mean, it was a really awesome place for her spot. But having you guys come in, I find that it's a great way to ignite and inspire so many that think that they can't go anywhere or they can't do anything. Like, you guys have the craft, and just stick with it. So if you could talk to the people that are following in your footsteps and looking to go the same direction, what kind of advice would you want to give them? Like, what kind of encouragement can you give them?
Don't stop playing.
Yeah,
Commit.
Don't stop playing.
Yeah.
Commit, that's a good one.
And I think that's the number one thing. If you're going to do it, just commit to it. It's
Yeah.
hard. Nothing's going to be gratifying except for you. And no matter how hard it is, the more you put into it, the better people you get to play with.
That's true.
Yeah.
And
you just can't stop, because there's no time limit for like when your time will be. Your time's every time you do it. So don't be discouraged if you have no one in front of you. Rock like you're in a coliseum.
That's right.
That's a really good piece of advice, because some people will say, "Oh, there's nobody there; it was dead," and so
You don't know who those
It doesn't-
people are. You don't know who those 5 people are, and that
Right.
one person out of those 5 people could be that one person. So you
So
just
true.
give it your all,
Yeah.
man.
That's
You
all
gotta
finds itself.
enjoy it too.
Enjoy the ride, yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
man.
I see you
You're not doing
enjoy
for
it.
yourself, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it's one person I see like seriously get down on a keyboard, it is you. I have not ever seen a person's showmanship on a keyboard like that.
Right on.
Especially out of our area, it's like
Yeah.
people don't understand, like, that's like an extension of you, your instrument. Or if you are the instrument, like Icarus Jones, he is the instrument. You guys have extensions, and your instruments are a part of you. So when I see that, I feel your energy. It totally pumps me up, and I super love that, because that's the kind of engagement that people need to have when they're going and experiencing live music. Like, it gets deep into them and touches their soul, and like that visual cue of like seeing somebody so excited and go so hard on what they do. It's a keyboard. People wouldn't think like you can totally get down like that. Alicia Keys does. I mean, she gets down on her piano and rocks it. But you have a great show, and what you do is like good for people to come out and just check it out, just to even see how he rocks out. I have yet to see how you guys rock out. I know how Icarus Jones rocks out. He gets down.
Let me just jump in and hang on.
Yeah.
Communication is key. How do you guys work with each other on stage when you're like ready to, like, because I know he gets into like a little bit of a jam session a little bit, but how do you know when it's time to just say, hey, let's go ahead and get into the next one?
It's one of the hardest things to learn is when not to play. And to be a listener. That's the best thing I can say about these guys that I play with, is they are ultimately listeners, and that's where the communication starts. If you're listening and keep yourself open, magic can happen. So
Very true. We've been really lucky because everybody that's been involved has been kind of really experimental, jammy artists. So everybody's kind of always ready to go at the drop of a dime. But also, like they mentioned earlier, like they wanted to be involved. Everybody has a really good time when we play because everybody wants to be down. Like nobody's treating it like a job. Nobody's having a hard time. Like this guy's rocking out on keyboard. He's the only guy I've ever seen who jumps around when he's playing on keyboard.
I know. That's why I'm just like, what?
It's literally just as much fun as we could possibly have.
And that's like such a good part among being able to inspire anybody who's in the crowd that does it, that does the craft.
Right.
And it's different crafts that you bring in. That's that fusion, which I think is so phenomenal because that eclectic way about, I guess, just the Central Valley. I think it really is one of those things where we have the fusion. I don't know how it is in the Bay Area. What is it like for the music out there as far as when it comes to fusion of different genres?
Well, what's happening right now, I mean, like the Santa Cruz Bay Area is, everybody's basically working on this fusion thing, I guess you can call it that. I mean, it's just, everybody's just grabbing whatever they like the best.
It's the new hip hop.
Putting it together, and then seeing what sticks. And then once they find that common ground, then all of a sudden here's this new sound.
Yeah.
You know, and right now,
That's wonderful.
there aren't too many people that I can say that I'm just like, wow, you guys are on the forefront of doing something.
Yeah.
But what I do see is this really new invigoration of wanting to get out there. And that's really like, for a little bit, there's a lot of apathy. You know, everybody just wants to get on YouTube, make a video, we're going to make it. But they switched it. You know, now people are actually getting out live again, and that's
the
the
big
important thing.
piece.
I love seeing that and the collaborations, because like he was saying, it's a small area there too.
Yeah.
The Bay is about that big, and Stockton is part of it. Trust me, even though it's inland, you know, because the sound just travels all the way through. But as
We
far
have a
as
great
hip-hop,
music school here.
Good hip hop is coming out. And it is. Good hip hop's coming out of Santa Cruz. So we'll see what happens. I wish them luck, man. I want to see it move.
Yeah, and it really takes a lot of people to make the movement happen. Like, you know, the radio stations, the local radio stations, things like that. Anybody who's like looking to help get all the word out, because you guys can rock the stages, but you guys have the exposures in so many different ways and places. It's nice to be able to reach different audiences. Like, so for example, KXVS here, we reach many different audiences, not just the music and entertainment entertainers. We work with a lot of the community businesses and politicians. So, you know, the arenas and the audiences that you guys are touching are not only just your own kind, which is, you know, other entertainers and stuff like that. People who are the ones that kind of make and shake and make changes in the city and the county are also able to see that. So they can see the quality and the caliber of talent that we have in our area. They have to understand that. They have to work with that. And when they know those pieces, they're able to then move into greater events in the area. So it's just a matter of how they work those visions, if they have them at all. So it's one of the things that I do notice, like hip hop and jazz are two creations out of America that the world has adopted and loved and accepted, and they've participated in it as well. With that being said, what were some of the influences that you guys have had in your lives and in your music before you became, you know, these artists that you are now?
Well, I come from a classical and jazz background.
Oh, nice.
And went to University of Pacific, went to the conservatory there.
Nice.
And but then I'm also, as we all are, we are children of the 80s and 90s, you know, and so talk about fusion. I mean, it's in us, you know, everything we listened to and grew up with, and you know, inspired, you know, as a small kid living in San Francisco, exposure to hip hop, and for the first albums I ever got was a Fat Boys album.
Oh wow!
Yeah, you know, and so, but yeah, and from the hip hop side, guys like Eminem and Common and those guys.
More the recent.
Yeah, and then, you know, other fusion stuff like the Snarky Puppy and the Knee Bodies and bands like that blend those elements. So.
How long have you been in Nashville?
A year.
How do you like it?
I love it. It's great.
What's the best thing that you like about it?
It's just a really cool town. Like, there's a lot of good music happening right there. There's a lot of kids moving there to do their thing, you know. So it's like very creative.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's really great. And I lived in LA the last 7 years or whatever it's been, and it's easier to live there. Like, me and my wife have kids, and like just it's less traffic. But it has all the benefits of having a music industry. So I have a studio there.
Yeah.
And I've been producing some stuff, and I really enjoy it.
Any projects that you have underway?
Finishing up some new stuff of his that we've been working on for a while.
Okay, so he's sending it out to you out in Nashville.
Some of the stuff we had already started before I left. So we have 2 projects that we're wrapping up, and I've been doing a lot of co-writes and working with like indie artists and stuff like that out there. So it's cool.
So when are you gonna drop those?
I also have an album coming out, and we're gonna be playing that stuff as well.
So you're gonna be playing those albums tonight?
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are gonna catch these albums. They're not even dropped yet, though.
No.
Oh man, you guys get a preview. You guys are gonna get a preview of the new album that's gonna be dropping live. That's gonna be at the not the Channel Brewing, next door at the Trade Company, the Cast Iron Trade Company.
I have a single out on YouTube, a video that's actually done by a guy here.
You do?
Steven Herrera.
Let's find it. We can share it.
Yeah.
Shout out to Heavy Crown Media.
Yeah, Heavy Crown Media.
What's the name of the song?
It's called Feeling Fine.
Feeling Fine.
It might not have a G on Feeling.
Feeling.
Yeah.
And Mike Klooster? Or just put Klooster?
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys are going to be playing songs from the album. How many tracks is that album going to have?
That album has 8 tracks.
8 tracks. And then the project that you have with Icarus Jones, is that the same one?
Tonight?
You're going to play some of that as well, right?
Yeah, we're playing both. Yeah,
okay, so how many tracks are on that album, and what's the name of that album going to be?
Good question.
That's a good question. It's actually still untitled at this point.
Yeah.
We have, what do we have, like 6 or 7 songs?
We have like 7 songs.
Yeah, about 7 songs. It's short but sweet. We've spent a lot of time working on it, trying to perfect everything, and I think it's coming along nicely. Klooster's album's done, ready to come out, and hopefully both albums will be out soon, so be on the lookout for the Klooster album and the Klooster / Icarus Jones project.
Yeah, the new Icarus stuff, we're both singing on it. So they're kind of like not really duets, but they're
right.
Collaborations.
Yeah.
Kind of the first time I've gotten to share like vocal duties with somebody besides another rapper.
I rarely hear you have other artists like on the vocals.
Right.
So
I'm basically his date dog.
I'm so gonna quote you on that.
But it's rare, and you have come with like tons of lyrics over the years, Icarus, like tons of lyrics. Where do you get your inspiration to talk about what you talk about? Because I've always appreciated your music for the content, always. You bring a great quality, a higher level.
Thank you.
And I want to see more of that in our people that are coming up, rather than the crap rap.
Right. Yeah. Right.
I call it crap rap. So
Pump.
yeah, where did you gain all of your influences as you got started, and what made you decide to go that route?
I've always held hip hop in really high regard, and I think a lot of it is done so just too simply and lazy. And I think there are so many examples of people like really spending their time and putting in work that's what inspires me, is like people who have always pushed the boundaries, tried to do something unique and take it places it hasn't been before, as opposed, that there can be such an ethic in rap of like it always has to stay the same, to be real. But I don't know, I get a lot of inspiration from people that have pushed the boundaries on it, and lyrically, I don't know, I'm a big fan of heavy lyrical content like Aesop Rock, Lupe Fiasco type
Aesop
stuff.
Rock.
Yeah,
oh yeah,
those
Lupe Fiasco.
2 of my favorites. So Kendrick, obviously people who just
got a message, speak on some real
and
stuff.
A voice, and a unique way of seeing things and portraying those lyrics. Yeah, absolutely.
So, do you try to hide a lot of the meanings or content, like with your metaphors and stuff, or do you want it to be so blatant that they're really picking it up?
That's a really good question. I try not to be so blatant. It's not really a conscious effort, but it's just kind of the way I have learned to write. But I'm also a big fan of like double meanings and hidden messages and that. So yeah, I try not to be so
Double
in your face. I want, people are always gonna get their own take on it. But my biggest thing is, just stimulating a thought process at all. That's where I'd like to come from.
And that is so important, because a lot of the education that they have in the schools these days, they want to take out thinking. They want to take out a lot of like the critical thinking skills for the youth. They just wrote memory, this is what it is. They don't really want them to think about too much until they get to college, and they know a lot of students don't go to college these days. And it's kind of where true hip hop and music in general can bring education to the mass media, to the masses. And what we bring, and that's why I find it so important to choose to be selective. A lot of people want to do maybe just for the fun of like a little catchphrase or something, and then that's fun stuff. I get it. But for the most part of it, looking at it from like a hip hop perspective or music, or utilizing it in a way that grows society as music grows and evolves, it's leaving those lessons, the information. So what kinds of lessons or things would you say that you like to bring more, like coming out of, I guess, for example, you do classical music. What was it like for you? What is something that you could like leave in your music for them, like to know, like, hey, this is important, this is something you might want to do? Like go get trained on it,
Ultimately, what the degree from the conservatory did, I didn't necessarily learn a genre. Yes, it was a classical degree and then jazz studies. But what it did for me was taught me to master my instrument, and it taught me to teach myself how to learn and teach myself how to practice. Those are the ultimate skills that I got from a classical music degree. With those tools, I learned how to play other genres of music, whether it be jazz or funk or hip hop or bluegrass, by doing it. And by having the skills on my instrument and knowing the language of music, I was able to do that.
You touched on something that I really like, and that is the blues and bluegrass type stuff. Okay, we don't really have much of it. I know Snap Jackson uses the banjo, and like I thought that was super awesome that he actually chose that instrument to move into, and like really has gone like really strong with it. Yeah, so with the blues and do you guys think about fusing? Because I really like, I kind of hear like when I'm starting to hear like kind of new music in my mind, like I want to hear the fusion of like bringing that the blues, but then in the same respect it's like almost that Indian, like if you can hear like an Indian woman, it's kind of like bringing some cultural, rock, but then you got the blues with it, and then you got that old school like gospel type that goes with it. And so I'm wondering like how you guys when you're working together, does it just flow and come out, or do you guys like actually sit and think like, we're gonna try this, we're gonna do this, I want to try this, and like communicate that? Like what does it look like kind of behind the scenes when you guys are starting a new song? Like who comes up with the new song? So like, I want to try something new, and this is what we're gonna do.
It's both. There's times for okay, go and see what happens, and then there's times for sitting down and let's make a roadmap, or here's a lyric, or here's some chord changes. I mean, there's so many different ways to do it.
It's very much like kind of exactly like you were saying though. Like we'll come out and just bust out, jam a tune, and if we want to tweak something, it's more or less like, hey, let's make that a little more bluesy, or push in a little jazz, or like you said, a little world influence. So it can be a conscious effort, but more often than not, it's just what happens from everybody's different influences, and just hearing what would be cool to drop in the moment. Everybody's really off the top when we're playing. So it's not so much a concerted effort as much as we look like seasoned professionals when we're up there. A lot of it is just
you
just
are,
the vibe. It's easy when everybody's enjoying what they're doing and everybody's kind of on a level where they can maintain. We all just trust each other, I think, more or less than anything.
That is such a big factor.
It's huge.
To know that somebody is so good at their skill and what they do, you don't even have to worry about, oh my God, are they going to hit that note? Do they know where we're going with the song?
Right.
Is what they're adding a great factor kind of thing. So coming along for the ride. What are you expecting to get into tonight? I'm sure you jammed with him like many times. So what are you expecting to get into tonight?
I'm expecting to get into like moments of like soul lifting.
Okay.
You know, 'cause when everybody's on, it's just this energy is just there, and it's beautiful to watch and be a part of. And for me, I really expect everybody to do a lot of head nodding.
Okay.
I expect a lot of people to really
Yeah, I can see that.
get lost into what they're going to see, because there's a lot of power with this group to be so demure as people, you know. But I think we should all save it for the time when we play. You know, and then that's when it's like all of a sudden it just comes out like our actual personality,
Right?
through our instruments and our gifts, you know, and that's what I expect to see tonight. More of like what we did last night, where it's like everybody's going to be really on, we're all cylinders fired, and we're gonna leave sweaty.
Yeah. That's so true. Yeah, that's so true. I'm really hoping, because I know that that the cast iron trade company has, I wouldn't say minimal space, but if they were to move things away from the stage a little bit, because I know last time they had tables and everything were set up because they do like serve food and drinks. But if they move, if they move things back a little bit, I think it would give people an opportunity to kind of come up front, because there are those people who get so mesmerized that they want to come up to the front and they want to like watch Mike's fingers playing, or they want to see how you're playing on that stand-up
totally
bass.
What we're used to, yeah.
Yes, because people get so mesmerized. I've seen that, and even myself, the first time I saw you, I was like, I gotta go see that. So I'm like walking up, and I'm just like really watching. But on the guitar, I used to play guitar. I don't play guitar anymore. Long story about that, but I would be so fascinated. I would wake up with riffs would be in my mind, and I would wake up, find my guitar. Where's my guitar? I need to like get that out. So I would get that out, and then so I would be so fascinated by watching people where they're going with their notes, dropping keys, what they're doing, and so I don't really know much about the drums, but different drums, I always wonder if we'll ever see those like on stage. You know, they have different ones. Like there's like this drum. I don't know if they call it a water drum.
I'm using like 15 different instruments.
Are you?
Them. Yeah, but it's all compact.
Yeah.
And I'm using an electric conga because we're playing in small places. So there's this little thing called a hand sonic, and then you can get a lot of different tones, and the pads are real sensitive. So just from years of actually playing, you can really get in and manipulate it and get very realistic sounds. And that's what I like about this, is that I can just sit on top of my amp right over here in the corner, stay out of the way in a small stage, and really give out like the sound that I can give to help in any way I can with what the song needs. You know? And
you just kind of have that fine-tuned ear for that, where you just know where they're going. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
and I think that comes with your vibe. I think a lot of that, when people are in that motion, and correct me if I'm wrong, and how is it for you? When you feel it in your intuition, and you just kind of feel it, and it takes you. It kind of just takes you in that place, and you knowing where you need to do, but you go with it. But the music and the energy, and you see what your bandmates are doing, and like you just kind of like, and then you know that they trust you, so you can kind of go in a direction, they're going to come with you.
Right.
Do you ever get that?
Yeah, the language, that's what he was saying, which I really thought was really said it all. Is like, once you learn the language of music, you can talk to everybody.
That's exactly right.
And once you really get it down, you learn your rhythmic structures, your chords, how a cycle of fifths work. I mean, once you learn those basics, you can sit with anybody and play anything almost. That's what I love about this. Everybody can talk, and we just do it with our hands and our actions. And it's beautiful to see the conversation that comes out of it.
That's true.
Yeah, it's a lot of reading energy. The energy always tells you what's coming next when you're out there playing live.
Yeah, man. And you throw it down. You're so good. That's what
yeah.
That's right.
Is there ever something you want to do, like when you're on stage, Chris, like you have like a moment where you're like, I want to freestyle, so you turn to them and like, keep playing, kind of thing?
Yeah, we've done that a lot. And just turn around. It's usually me and Stanley. I'll turn around and make eye contact with Stanley, and then he'll just kind of more or less give everybody the vibe. But we do that a lot. We stretch things out. We just roll off. Give
them the vibe, huh, Stanley?
That's right.
Catch a vibe. So we got people coming in. Paul, he says, big thumbs up. BR says, so glad you guys made it. And we have a few other people that are tapping in. And let's see if anybody has a question really quickly. I have to go beyond that, but I can't because it only lets me look at a few things. That's okay. But yeah, so people, if you have anything that you kind of want to give them as far as like a tip for tonight, like what to look for, if there's like anything that they'll find there, like CDs or T-shirts or anything that you guys are bringing out, something that they could.
We got the semis and no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, the semis, business card. No, I'm just kidding.
We do have two friends that are playing with us tonight that aren't here today.
There's two friends with them.
Yeah.
Joe Boolem, Sam York are also going to be there tonight. So
shout out to them.
Shout out to them.
Sam.
Shout out to Darren Dollinger, of course, mentioned earlier. Shout out to
Eric and Carrie at Cast Iron.
Right.
for hooking
Eric
us
and
up
Carrie,
tonight.
yes. Shout out.
Wristband Scott doing sound.
Oh yeah,
Right,
Wristband
right.
Scott.
And like you said, it is kind of it's a smaller, more personal venue. So anybody that's excited about the show, I would get there early to make sure you stake out a little spot. I don't know if we'll have CDs and shirts and whatnot for sale, but we'll definitely have music playing.
Yeah, for
They
sure.
have lobster rolls tonight too, man.
Oh, do they?
Lobster
I
rolls.
hope they do. But
Oh.
I had to suggest it.
Shout out to the cast iron.
Yeah.
Yes, shout out to the cast iron. Yeah.
114 North San Joaquin Street, I believe.
Yes. 114 North, because the other one's 110 right next door.
Right.
So, yeah, bring a little bit of cash so you guys can get a
lot of
drink. Even though it's free, it's still free.
It's a free show.
So the music is definitely, catching a vibe is free. Your vibe is free. But if you're hungry, that's going to be a fee. So bring some money.
It's going to be a good night on tonight over there too, because Symposium is going on next door at Channel Brew too.
Yes.
Brandon,
Yes.
the Symposium.
Because I looked at that, I was like, wait a minute, is it the same time there?
So
I was like, wait,
it's
is
a
it
great
over
night.
there?
A lot
So
of
I
stuff
didn't even
happening in
realize that,
Stockton
yeah.
right now.
they do that often. I noticed that they'll throw shows at the same, and I love that energy though, because it really is like both groups go back and forth. They're like, oh, something's going on over here too, and like, oh, something's going on over here too. So they have a great collaboration of those two businesses for those venues, so what they're
Right.
utilizing it for and how they're circulating many artists in through there. We appreciate you guys coming through to Stockton and really just rocking the house out there at Cast Iron and bringing a free show to the community, because man, it's one thing that people need to sometimes get out of their head when they're kind of locked in a box around, and it's just sometimes maybe it's not payday and they don't got that cash flow. One check is like what they live on and it goes to bills and they have nothing else, and you know, they want to get out, they want to have some fun, they want to vibe out. And so thank you so much for bringing it in that respect, because they're gonna get great messages through your music. They're gonna catch great vibes through the energy that you're putting out in your showmanship, which I think is absolutely amazing. I can't stress that enough. And you guys will have an opportunity for fans, if they want to meet you, to come up and meet you guys.
You just said something that really made sense. Like you all can expect to come and forget your troubles for a little while
Please.
Totally.
and have a really great time, just forgetting all of that for while the music's on, and it's going to be awesome.
It's
That
gonna
we
be
can
awesome.
Guarantee you.
There's no better show than a show on your birthday.
I know! Happy birthday!
Yeah.
I'm so happy that I get to get out of work early, because my other job is a swing shift. Usually it's 2:30 to 11 p.m. But since I have to go in early today because I haven't making the schedules, I got to finish that because it's got to be posted on Monday. So I get to get out early, and I'm like, yes!
Nice.
Just in time for this show!
Awesome,
Oh,
awesome.
that's going to be great.
I think about that often. Well, thank you guys so much. Is there anything else you want to leave the audience with? Where they can go, your handles, how they can get in touch with you, what to look for? You got a couple albums coming out. So Mike Klooster has one coming out. It's 8 tracks, and then he has a collaboration coming out with Icarus Jones. How many tracks? You said 14 on the other one?
Like 7 tracks.
Oh, 7 on
both
it. I didn't
of us,
ask.
yeah.
Okay, so
You
7
just
tracks.
doubled it.
Doubled it.
Now we have to do a remix of every song.
Double out.
And if you can't make it to the show tonight, we are going to be playing Symposium next month on October 12th, I believe it is. So we'll be around. I don't think Klooster will be here for that.
Probably not.
But we'll see.
Yeah.
Right, back and forth. You're traveling all over the place, I'm sure.
Yeah. No trouble.
How is downtime for you when you get there? You're just like, don't talk to me. Just leave me alone.
Everybody hit Mike Klooster up and ask him when his album's coming out so he can put it out.
Please, yeah,
It's coming
definitely. And any side projects that you guys have going on in your areas?
Yeah, I've got a band. We're Sigmund and the Sea Monsters. And
Sigmund and the Sea Monsters.
Santa Cruz.
Out of Santa Cruz.
Yeah.
We can barely hear you. That's why I'm repeating you.
Sigmund and the Sea Monsters.
Look
Look
it
for us
up.
on Facebook and all that other stuff too, man.
I got Snapjacks and the Knock on Wood Players. Of course, we've got 3 albums out. My other jazz quartet project, Barcode. has our second album dropping in a couple months. They're on Facebook and all that stuff, so check it out.
Okay, and Stan?
I just play Grateful Dead tunes at Michael Brookings' place in the morning.
Oh, nice.
Coffee.
There's a lot of Grateful Dead fans in our area. I have a friend, I don't know if you know Tease Rock.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, but he does a little podcast, Mixler, on Mixler, and what he does basically is he kind of he follows the Grateful Dead cover bands and all that stuff, and he goes live. He goes live with them, and so it's like being at the concert. I'm like, oh my God, this is so cool. It's like being at the concert because you get to hear the live music that nobody would otherwise hear unless they were there.
Yeah, that's dope.
I love it. I think it's super dope. So maybe tonight, if you guys don't mind, we go live on something and let people catch the show.
Yes, please.
Love it.
That'd be awesome.
It'll be a double Ronne hour then. I'll do Ronne hour over there. I'm going to do a little outro with Mike Klooster's Feeling Fine, if that's good with you guys. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. You guys can reach out to them. Mike Klooster on Facebook, Icarus Jones on Facebook. We also have Brian Clark on Facebook, Mike Sigmund also on Facebook, Stanley Raquel on Instagram and Facebook.
On Facebook.
IG. Anybody do Snapchat? That's a different era. That's a different generation. Snap Jackson.
MySpace.
MySpace. Oh, that's when it all started, was with MySpace. That's cracking me up. Because I actually, it's so funny. When I was writing for the paper, that's where I would post everything.
Yeah, we were all connected to that.
Yeah. So here we go. This is Feeling Fine with Klooster.
And I need truth to keep me here. And I'm fragile on this earth. And I need moments to know my worth. Every time I look around, everybody seems to be feeling for me.
All right, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed it. You've tuned in to KXVS Ronnie Hour with Ronnie and Icarus Jones, Mike Klooster, and the bandmates. You guys have a great and wonderful day. We'll see you tonight at the Cast Iron. Peace, y'all.
Stockton.